Hi, this is me, Linda, and welcome to my channel, Linda's Mysteries, where we discover both tarot cards, mysteries, and spirituality. Let's dive into today's topic, which is about buying your first tarot card deck. Or perhaps not the first, but the one that you will really connect to and have an easy time to read. It is possible, and I will tell you how in this video. I'm so ready. So my first tip is, no matter if you're going to a physical shop where you can actually go through the cards, some esoteric shops might have that option, and some libraries maybe have some cards put out there so you can physically check them. Please take the opportunity if you have one. Of course, there's also the option to buy online. Then you can go and look at the visual cards that they have shown, and in case there are not that many, you can still check it online by the name. But my extra tip is, if you can't actually open a card deck in a shop, it's closed, plastic, everything, maybe you see like very tiny things on the back, maybe a bit of side, right? But you don't really get a full connection, but you still have some intrigue about the card deck. Please make sure to write down the name of the artist and the name of the deck, and Google it and look, especially on YouTube, for flip through videos. I've created a few on this card deck, for example, Art Nouveau, but I bet that there's a video for most decks that you might find, because there are many tarot collectors. So if you have a chance to look through the cards, take it, and if you don't, find out the visual opportunities online. Why that is very important is because my first tip to find the best tarot card deck for yourself, and this is very individual, is that you find a deck that when you look at it, when you open it up, when you look into the cards that it is showing, you literally feel like intrigue, you feel curiosity. So if by just looking at the visual on the front, you're already a little bit curious, yes, pick it up, go in, try it out, check it. And if you have a chance to go through the cards, really allow yourself to notice if you are curious about it, if you want to sort of play with the cards, if you have a feeling that, ooh, I want to know more. If you have that sense, for example, this is the deck that I picked first, and I saw only a few things on the side of the card deck because it was fully wrapped in, but I made an intuitive choice and purchased it anyway, because I felt that, yes, I am so curious to know more. I really felt like this is something that I want to discover, I want to play with it, have fun. So if you feel like that, take that as a yes. Then the second tip, very important. If you have a chance to look at the cards themselves physically, this will be the best way to notice that in yourself. Do you feel like there's a story you can tell when you're looking at the card? And it can be that most decks will give you that feeling that, yes, I can tell some story. But is there like a very easy story coming up immediately as you see the card? Then that might be another yes. Meaning, go in, explore. There comes another very special tip with this, like a tip inside of the tip, 2.1, 2.8, is that many decks will actually go through the normal classical way, and they will have minor arcana cards, especially the smaller arcana, the 56 cards, meaning part of 4 suits, like in playing cards. They might not have so much visual, like you see less story here than in the cards that I've shown you before. And that extra tip that I'm giving is to avoid perhaps some decks like the beautiful Marseille tarot, that is amazing deck, but the minor arcana will have cards like this and this, and those are 2 different cards. This is Swords 8 and this is Swords 10. Can you tell a story looking at these? As a beginner, when you don't know the meanings of the cards yet, when you don't know the structure, you might not have anything to say. Maybe this card would still give you a little bit of a story, right? This is One of Swords. So if you can check as many small minor arcana cards, meaning 56, that don't have usually something written on them, it can be that there's a little explanation name of the card, but you know, not more information that could easily give you something. Then maybe if you feel like there are more cards like that in the deck that you don't understand, you have no story, I would say don't go for that deck. At least not as the first deck. You can always come back to it when you feel like, yes, I'm ready to explore and go into it deeper. When you already have started your tarot journey and actually learn about the structure and everything. Like for example, in my Tarot 101 course, we will go into this actual deck and we will learn all the structure and you know everything about it. So you will be able to translate all decks, including that Marseille tarot. But if you're learning just as a complete beginner on your own, maybe you're not ready for that. So feel in yourself what level of challenge you are ready for. Do you want to read for yourself and just chill? Then maybe avoid that sort of a deck and go into those ones where you instantly have a sense of a story. And by the way, that is very, very personal. So I might have a story from a deck like this one that somebody else will not get stories out of. So it's okay. So if you feel connected to something else, do that. Do you, baby. This is a free world where you're doing something for your own pleasure and fun. So make sure that the deck you're choosing is fun for you, is interesting for you. You feel connected to it. That's it. And then, of course, when you're, beginning, you might be a little bit confused that you don't know all the symbols and things like that. That's completely okay. Don't be discouraged by that. If you feel like you're still connected to the deck, even if it has symbols, make sure that simply when you buy it that you slowly start to learn these symbols. I do say that it is important where you learn the symbols from, because many sources will give you like a old wives' tale version of it, especially online sources. So make sure you find a teacher, school or something where you can learn the deeper meanings of symbols, okay? Because there are many. That's a big world. It is literally our world that we're talking about. And then my last tip, the third, is to make an intuitive choice. This might be very simple to say, but it's a little bit different feeling how to actually do it. So my story of buying this deck that you can see I've used a lot. So sweet. I literally felt like, okay, I might not see all the cards, but I feel like there is something to it. And I simply trusted that feeling. And it is to this day one of my favorite decks. And I feel the most connected to it because simply that was an intuitive choice. I trusted it, I went with it. And if you feel like, oh yes, I feel like that, I feel sure somehow in myself, then go for that choice. But if you have a lot of doubt, there's a lot of mind involved, please do some part of the other tips to make sure that when you make the choice, then it's not influenced by your thoughts so much, to make sure that you're more in a mindful space when you're choosing. So my tip here, to be able to make an intuitive choice, is very interesting. Even if you're in a shop full with people, simply take 3 very deep breaths into your belly. Like really expand your belly. Like breathe in and like slow deep breath out. Beautifully if through the mouth. And another deep breath. And the last, third one. And that usually brings you a little bit more into your body. If you don't feel that connection yet, if your mind is running anyway, do more breaths. Try to connect. That will help to return you to your intuitive self, to your actual body, to your actual feelings, not just your mind running all over. And it's okay if you can't make the choice instantly. It's also okay if you are drawn to multiple decks. And as you can see, we tend to expand into many as the years go by. And yeah, my last tip is to understand that tarot normally has the name tarot on it on the deck, very simple thing, but You know, there are also oracle card decks out there. I have a video about it. There are other decks like archetypal decks, again, a video. So make sure that what you buy is actually tarot, because it works a little bit differently. It has a specific structure. And usually that structure is around 78 cards. So normally the number 78 cards will be on it, 22 major arcana and 56 minor arcana. That's part of the structure, and that could help you. But there are a few tarot card decks like Osho's Tarot that has more, and it's still a tarot card deck. So there is variation. And what is a very unique tip that I really feel connects mostly to my students who are learning tarot from the beginning is to buy a very visual card deck. For example, yes, the beautiful Marseille is sort of visual, but at the same time it's complex. It's symbol visual rather than just visual. What I mean by visual is something that literally makes you feel, that has a whole story in one picture, right? And it can be that what you connect to is more artistic. It is completely normal, because some people connect, you know, to paintings that are a bit more abstract or something. So that's also an option for you. But make sure that there is a visual connection in yourself. That's very, very important. Because you don't actually have to know all the card meanings to do an intuitive tarot reading. What you need is to be able to connect visually and allow your subconscious to give messages to you. And thus you have a self-reflecting experience, and that's the way to do tarot card reading mindfully. Simply to say, different thing to practice. And that's why we try to do it together in groups with my students. And lastly, if I have another tip. Oh, there's a very important thing to tell you. There is a myth out there that the first tarot card deck that you have has to be gifted by someone, and that is a myth. Let me break it to you. I don't know where the origins are, but I do suspect the past centuries where it might have not been so safe to buy tarot cards yourself. But nowadays it's very safe, very widely available and open. So please make sure that you buy your own tarot cards. And that even goes to gifting tarot cards to other people. You maybe first make sure that that person is open to receiving a card deck that they don't know. There are people like that, especially tarot card collectors. And if you yourself want to start out, then you yourself would be the best person to pick the best card deck for yourself, okay? So I hope this gives you a lot of inspiration to try out tarot. I often do free either workshops or webinars or beautiful free guides. Like I have a guide about intuition development. And if you want to receive these things, subscribe to my newsletter and join in on the events or simply the free content that I'm giving about tarot. And of course, you can always find me on socials and everywhere. If you want to do one of my courses, you can also email me and I will give you more information on that. And for now, I'm very grateful that you are here. I'm curious if you have more questions about tarot cards. If you are a beginner and you don't understand something, please let me know in the comments. I would love to answer your experiences and questions in the next videos that follow. So for now, this is my channel meant for your most blissful growth, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao!